So I just finished an inventory lab shipment, and we have over 600 books, $8,500 of net profit. It's 657 units, and now I have the choice of how I want to ship it. And I just want to show you that if I ship it UPS, we're looking at $239.05, and this warehouse is really close to my house. So this is actually a pretty good rate. So if we do the math on that, $239 divided by 1,133, that's 21 cents per pound. Okay. However, if we were to ship LTL, or less than truckload, let's check the price on that. So there's 28 boxes.
After you put in the number of boxes, you can see Amazon automatically puts in the number of labels. So you still have to label each box. So you want to hit print box labels and put each label on each box. It doesn't matter which label goes on which box. You just want to make sure that the label doesn't cover any of the tape on the boxes. So when they cut it open, it doesn't rip apart the label.
And this right here, this is a standard size pallet, 48 by 40 inches. The dimension it wants you to fill in here is the height, because that's something that they don't know. So you just got to measure the height of the pallet here, and mine is 54 inches roughly, 1,133 pounds, or only one pallet. And freight ready date, so I'm going to put Sunday because I have to get some wrap. Declared value here, you're going to put how much it's worth. It's about 8,500 of net profit for this shipment, so that's what I'm going to put. Hit calculate, and we've got $102.53. Now I also want to stress, you always want to make sure you have Amazon partnered carrier, because that's going to be a trucking company who's used to dealing with Amazon every day and used to dealing with their processes, and it should be the cheapest route also. So that's the no headache road to go for doing the LTL thing. $102.53 is less than half of the UPS rate. So if we do the same calculation of 102.53 divided by number of pounds, that's 9 cents per pound. So 9 cents versus 21 cents per pound. Okay, so you can ship LTL if you do 150 pounds or more. I would say, if it's over 300 pounds, I would definitely see how much it quotes you and kind of take it from there. So we're going to hit I agree. We're going to hit accept charges. So there's 4 labels, and they want you to put one on each side of the pallet, but I'll film that separately. So you're going to hit print pallet labels, and what that probably did was downloaded a PDF file. So you're going to open that, hit print it out on your printer. Okay, so I'm printing those out. I'm going to hit complete shipment. Now I should get a call from the freight company. They're going to, give me a call, and we're going to set a time for them to come pick it up. So I'll hit complete shipment. Okay, so it says the bill of lading will be generated within 24 hours of the pickup date and time. So once that's ready, you have to print that out. You have to sign it. I'll, record that when I do that. I'm going to throw all my boxes on a dolly, and I'm going to wheel it up my driveway. It's a little bit of a pain, but I'm going to save about $140. It can't be helped. I can't ignore it. And it's a little bit less work in the sense that I don't have to print out 28 separate labels and, label up these boxes individually. Okay, I just have to print, 4 slips and, tape them to the pallet. If you have a label printer that can print labels that size, I don't, so I'm just going to tape them on, and it doesn't really matter. And so that's what I'm going to have to do. Once they give me the time, I'm going to throw all the boxes on the dolly, wheel them up the driveway, throw the pallet, kind of in the road next to my condo. I live in a dead end, so it's not an issue. And then I'm going to have to shrink wrap it at that point, put all the labels on, have all the paperwork ready, and I'll film that for you at that point and show you kind of the rest of the process. But it's a lot simpler than a lot of people would have you believe. You just have to get the pallets, and you can get the pallets from Home Depot sometimes. You can buy them for like $15. You can try going to like a Savers or a Goodwill outlet or anywhere that gets a lot of donations and deals with pallets of stuff. And a lot of times, you can just they'll just give you them. I've gotten pallets for free from Home Depot. A lot of the times they're not like in the ultimate best shape, but they're like good enough. They're solid. As long as they're solid, you can use them. I'm gonna continue on with this video once I actually ship it out, and I'll show you the rest of the process.
Okay, so we're pretty much done wrapping it. You can see we have the 4 labels on 4 sides of the pallet. They should be here within the hour, so that's when we have to give them the bill of lading, and they have to sign it, and we also have to sign it. So I'm going to film that part. One thing that you're going to want to remember if you're doing an LTL shipment from your home is that you're going to need to tell the carrier that they need to bring a truck with a lift gate. A lot of these carriers are used to going to warehouses that have loading docks to pick up the pallets. If you're doing this from your house, obviously you're not going to have that level of accommodation for them. So you're going to want to mention to the carrier when they call that this is a residence and that they need to bring a truck with a lift gate. You're going to want to find out if there's a fee. I know that a lot of carriers there is no fee, but every now and then you'll find one that does have a fee. If they have a fee, usually it's no more than $25 or $50. You'll probably have to pay it, but then the next time that you go to do an LTL shipment, you'll know not to deal with that carrier anymore if that fee really pushes the amount up too high. So it really all depends on who Amazon pairs you up with. So at this point, after he came and got off the truck, he got the pallet jack, all he really had to do was sign the bill of lading. I also had to sign it. And what I like to do is take a picture with my phone of the bill of lading after it's signed. And that's kind of good enough as a copy of it. You just want to make sure that there's good enough lighting and you can see everything in the picture. So the bill of lading, pretty much, I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. So this is what the bill of lading looks like. At the top, it's going to have your name or your company name, and then it's going to say where it's shipping to. It's going to say the name of your carrier. Ours happened to be UPS Freight. And it's going to say the pounds and the cubic feet and things like that. So basically, at the bottom left is where you want to sign, and at the bottom right is where your carrier is going to sign the document. So they take this form with them, so that's why I say that it's a good idea to take the picture of the bill of lading. And after all this is done, it's going to take them, maybe a week or so for it to get to Amazon, and then they have to redistribute it from there, and they're going to decide what FBA warehouse it goes to. So you should account for a 2-week delay from the time you do your LTL shipment from when it actually gets checked into the warehouse. With that said, as long as you're sending in regular shipments, I still think there's really no contest here. I mean, there's just too much of a savings to ignore it. The only time I wouldn't use LTL is if I was doing a smaller shipment or was if I was having a time sensitive shipment that I needed to get to the warehouse in a quick amount of time. Otherwise, LTO wins hands down, and this is really a great way to go to save a lot of money on your shipping. The name of this lesson is called Profit Splits. When you come into a company or a person that they're getting a lot of a certain type of item, they don't know how to sell anything online, they just want to give you the inventory and you sell it, and then they collect a percentage of the profits. Of course, the percentage can be whatever you determine it to be. It's something that you can negotiate, but at the end of the day, that's what a profit split is. You, being the person that is savvy enough to do all this, can approach someone that maybe they have a lot of inventory. So if you're gonna get inventory from a person twice a year, or once every 12 months, or once every 3 months, and it's a couple hundred books here, a few hundred books there, 1,000 books here, I would say just pay a flat rate and be done with it, okay? Because it's a lot less of a headache. Now, if it's someone that's going to have, books on a more consistent basis, or any kind of item to sell, and it's more worth your time to go through this, you might want to consider it. But even then, I would still try to do a flat rate up front. But I'm going to go into reasons why to do it and not to do it. So why you shouldn't do them. So there's going to be more reasons not to do it than there are to do a profit split, in my opinion. So the first reason is they can be time consuming. Second reason is, you're going to make less money. I mean, 99% of the time, you're going to make less money because you're splitting the profits. When you're doing a flat fee up front, you should be paying where you're making a decent profit. Certainly more than if you were doing a profit split. So the accounting can be messy, but I'm going to show you a way to do all this that's not so bad. The partner may want reports, which is added labor. And then if you give too much information, they might start trying to sell the books or items themselves. And I've heard many a tale of this happening. And usually it comes down to when there's just too much information being given. They see all the profits and then they just see dollar signs, and then they think, oh, I'm just going to do it myself, right? Half the time they don't know what they're doing, and they end up digging themselves into a hole, and they don't make what they thought they were going to make, and then they end up back with you anyway. But it's a situation you want to avoid completely to begin with, right? So why you should do them, okay? So if it's a person or company you're working with is established, they're trustworthy, they have a significant number of books, or media or whatever you're selling, but we're assuming we're talking about books here. They have a significant number of books, thousands of pounds of books, or really high value books on a consistent basis that's not necessarily in the thousands in quantity, but are really high value, and they won't do the deal any other way. The person or company already has a deal with someone else where they're getting a flat rate and they're not satisfied with what they're getting. It's still usually better to offer more up front in the situation, but it depends. And then the last thing would be the partnership with the company provides so much value that it would be worth it to go through the trouble of doing a profit split. So you decide to do a profit split. Now what? So you need to be separating all your inventory that you receive from this company by SKU in Inventory Lab. So in addition to physically keeping your inventory separate from this company, you also have to logically keep this separate in your software when you list. So in Inventory Lab, you can separate by SKU, and you could use something like, ORG1PS for Organization 1 Profit Split, for example. So then Inventory Lab will assign all the books, ORG1PS _ and then a number. And it'll automatically assign that number as you list the books. You don't have to worry about any of that. So as I mentioned after this, you will need to manage your reports in order to determine how much actual profit you brought in by selling the inventory. And if you're smart, you'll set some type of processing fee per unit. to handle your labor, to handle your employee costs, your warehouse fees, whatever additional costs go into selling this. This is something that should be accounted for, right? So processing fee will handle that. So first, I'm just going to show you very quickly how to set the SKU in Inventory Lab. Okay, so assuming you have a shipment all set up and going, right? You can see I have an MSKU prefix here of OA, so I separate my online arbitrage stuff like that. But let's say you have a agreement with some company, and you want to set a prefix, right? So before you list anything, right? This batch already has 3. Assuming this was empty, you hit Edit Prefix, and remember I mentioned ORG1 PS here. Now you don't put the underscore or anything like that. You hit Save, and now everything you list is going to list, for example, the what you put here, and then an underscore and then a number. So if we put, Harry Potter, we find a Harry Potter book here, and we go to list it, like right here. If we select this, we can see that if we scroll down, you see the MSKU. This is what we're separating by. So it has what we put, and then it automatically adds the underscore, and then it adds the number to the end, right? And that's how you want to do your whole shipment when you're listing it. And so that's that. So that's how you set the SKU prefix. So once that's done, now you have to know how to look at your reports in order to separate all this. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So you want to go to Reports, and then you want to go to Payments, and you want to go to Date Range Reports. So you can generate a report for different time periods. So let's say you're set to pay this place once a month or something. Or right here I have a report for 3 weeks. So let's say every 3 weeks, right? Whatever it is, you can generate a report for that time period. So I have one here from September 1st to 2016 to September 21st. So all right, so I have this already set up. The report was created, so I'm just going to download it, and I'm going to open it real fast to show you. And so these top lines here, you can just delete these. So we're going to right click, we're going to delete. Now this top row, we're going to select it. We're going to make it bold. Go to View and do Freeze Top Row. Okay. Now you see SKU. We're going to select that column. Should be column E. Go back to your Home tab, and you're going to want to do, sort smallest to largest. That's fine. And make sure it's on Expand the Selection. Hit Sort. So let's just say, we were paying out on all SKUs labeled SP1. So these would be the ones that we care about. So you could delete everything else, or you could just copy these and put it into another tab or something. So this should be pretty easy. So we'll select these, we'll copy it, paste in a new tab. Now I'm going to select column 2 and paste it because we want the first column to be the header. So we'll copy that. And you could do the same thing here where you select it, go to View, freeze the top row. Okay, so this is just the SKU SP1. So we're assuming this is the company. This is all their books that sold, right? So the actual amount you take home for each book is the total all the way to the right. And, you can easily confirm that by copying the order ID and then going in. I'll show you if you copy this order ID. And we go to Manage Orders, do an advanced search, paste in the order ID and hit search. So we can see it says total charge $944, but if you click this, shows you right here that the total is 511. You can actually click that and it'll break it down. So here we could see buyer paid $9.44. There's no shipping charges. So after the pick and pack fee, after all the FBA fees, you're left with $5.11. Now let's see if that matches in Excel. So if we go to the right, total sure enough is $5.11, right? So getting the amount actually paid to you is really easy. But now we have to add in the processing fee, right? So let's say you have a processing fee, and let's say you charge, and I'm just throwing this in here, let's say you charge 25 cents, let's say, per item sold. So we'll put, 0.25, make it bold, right? Okay, so so for this column, let's find out how much all this adds up to. So you're going to want to do equals, put sum, and then the top one starts at column V2 is the first one. So V2, then you want to put a colon, and then the last one is V50. All right, so 500, so we're going to put total, we'll put net here, right? Bold this. But now we have to calculate the profit split. So let's say that it's a 50-50 split. So we'll do equals V51 times 0.5 because it's a profit split. So that goes down to 254. So that's what they be paid so far. But we have this processing fee, right? So the processing fee, we can see that we have all these different transactions. So you would have to get, a count on all these transactions. So 2 to 50, that should be 49, I believe, transactions. If you want to get a count on how many transactions there are, you could just go over to this cell and do equals count, and then do V2, because that's where it starts up here, and then do a colon, and then do V50, and sure enough, 49 transactions. Okay, so the processing fee, and you can put right here processing, the processing fee is going to be the 49. So you're going to do equals 49 times 0.25, right, your processing fee. So that's $12.25 processing fee, which isn't very much. Okay, so in reality you should probably charge more than that. I would say it all depends, right? You have to make it all add up depending on your costs. So that's the processing fee. So now what they're going to be paid, partner net payout, whatever you want to call this stuff, right? So this would be, you do equals once again, and this is cell V52 minus V53, right? And that will give you $241.83. So at the end of the day, they get paid $241.83, and you have everything here. I mean, you've got where it's being sold, which, frankly, I wouldn't even go into that. All I would be telling a person is I sell them online, and you leave it at that. The more information you give, the more chances they have to just go do it themselves. So you don't want that, obviously, to happen. You've also got the order IDs. Now, if there's refunds, that's actually calculated in two. You can see this line is a refund, and it's minus the amount. Okay, so no matter what happens here, the total is gonna be accurate, and that's really it. So I mean, if you want to give them a report, again, I wouldn't give too much information here. You could give the title of the book, for instance. You could do the description column, and you could do the total maybe, along with the net processing, net pay, whatever you want to do. just don't give more information than you have to. Never give more information than you have to. And, that's really it. So this is like the very basics of working Excel to do a percentage split. As you've probably seen, it's really not that bad. This is exactly, what you would need to do in this situation. And, not too bad, right? You just have to make sure you have Excel. If you don't have MS Office, I think they have a program, Office 365, something like that. You can pay monthly. So instead of paying like a huge sum up front, you pay like $6, and it's the latest version, and I think you get everything. I think that's what I'm using now. I've got Word, Excel, PowerPoint. I've got all of it for the $6 a month. So you don't have to worry about that being something you can't afford. Because if you can't afford the $6 a month, then you shouldn't be in business at all, right? So yeah, that's it. Hopefully, that kind of made sense. If it was a different percentage split, then you would just enter, I put 0.5 here, but if, you were, if they were getting paid only 30%, then, you put 0.3, right? And then the whole thing changes, right? See, now they get paid 140. So all you have to do is kind of substitute the numbers here, and that's really it. So, hopefully this made sense, and, I'll see you in the next lesson. This video is called How to Jumpstart Your Feedback. So being a new guy isn't fun. When you're just starting out selling on Amazon FBA, it can be bad times. You're brand new. You're not 100% sure of exactly what the hell you're doing, despite having some really good information in front of you. And worst of all, you have the dreaded just launched next to your seller's store name. And you could see what that looks like right down here. So instead of having star rating and a 100% or 99% or a percentage by that star rating, it just says just launched. But all hope is not lost. Just because you're the new guy on the block doesn't mean you have to be for long. Even as a just launched seller, I got over 14 sales after my first shipment got checked in during my very first day selling on Amazon. People just trust Amazon that much. They know that if they get screwed over, Amazon's going to make it right for them. So there's a conundrum though. You need feedback for more sales, but you need sales for good feedback. So what do? The solution is to jumpstart your positive feedback campaign as soon as possible. There is a controlled, calculated way to do this as a new seller. So this is what you want to do. When you go to list your books in Inventory Lab, every second book you list under $10, downgrade the condition. So if the book is like new, grade it very good. If it's new, grade it like new. Now, if you really want to take it to another level, every third book you list under $10, downgrade the condition by 2. So if the book is like new, grade it as good. If it's new, grade it as very good. However, if it's a very good book or lower, don't grade it as acceptable, because that's just a bad idea. Acceptable books are not exactly hot sellers, and you need your books to sell. So the logic behind it is that you're going to have a lot of bread and butter books, and you're just going to have a lot of books that go under $10. These are steady, consistent sellers that make you $3, $4, $5 profit like clockwork. You're going to have a ton of them. Downgrading these a condition is not going to have a drastic impact on your bottom line, but they will have a drastic impact on your feedback rating. You're going to have tons of positive feedback pouring in immediately, counteracting any potential negative feedback that could come your way as a new seller, which, as you know, if your very first 2 feedback are negative, that's really going to throw off your ratio, and you're going to have a 0% positive feedback rating, which no one wants to have. So by downgrading a condition, what you're actually doing is giving people more than what they expected. Whenever you give someone more for the same amount of money, they're going to be thankful for it. And when people are thankful for something, they're going to give back the only way they know how, which is to leave you positive feedback. Now, Amazon sometimes solicits the customer for you, asking for feedback on an item, and they're going to remember that book and say, oh yeah, I remember ordering that book. It said good, but the condition was amazing. It was like new. It was like it was never touched. you better believe they're going to leave you that feedback, and that's going to look great on your account. So there are a few things not to do. Don't downgrade expensive books unless it's like 1 out of every 10 or even less than that. You need these books to be graded accurately because these are going to be your big money makers. And you don't want to try to solicit feedback from buyers. This is the best way to get bad feedback, and you may not be able to get it removed either. So there are programs that will try to get feedback from buyers, and some of them might have some merit to it. However, most of the time, when you solicit feedback, what you're doing is just aggravating buyers. They want to buy their stuff, and they want to read it and do what they're going to do with it, and they want to move on with their life. People don't have all the time in the day just to leave you a feedback. Hence the strategy we take by giving them more for the same amount of money, and we let people act on their own. And the last thing is, don't stress it, because you're going to get feedback naturally over time. So you don't need to overdo it. And that's pretty much it. So again, if you're a new seller, this is what you want to do. This is the fastest way to get the most positive feedback rolling into your account really quickly, so that there's no chance of someone leaving a really bad feedback and it throwing off your ratio. Now, if you do have a bad feedback, hopefully you watch my other video on getting feedback removed, because that video is going to be really helpful to you. I've been selling on Amazon for a while now, and I have a 100% feedback rating, and I'm very proud of that. So this is something that you can do for your business if you just follow the guidelines in the course. Good luck. Name of this lesson is Inventory Lab Accounting. First thing I want to say is I'm not an accountant. None of the following should ever be taken as legal advice. It's just simply what has worked for several online sellers that I know in the field. So I'm basically presenting stories I've heard from other online sellers, things that they have done. This is not necessarily something that I would advise you do, and this is not necessarily something that I do myself. This is just to give you some options on, what I've heard other people do, and to give you some more information on Inventory Lab itself and why this is such a good program and why I've been recommending it. So there's 2 common roads to choose from at the end of the year. The first is going with an online tax preparation service such as TaxSlayer, and the second is just to use an accountant or a CPA. So the best thing about Inventory Lab is going to be the ability to keep track of all your expenses. So your gas, your mileage on your car, the cost of goods. Inventory Lab keeps track of pretty much all of those things. And that can be given to your CPA. And I've heard many stories where, for instance, an Amazon seller, they hire a CPA, and the CPA asks for records and things of that nature. And the person gives them, the information from the accounting screen from Inventory Lab, and the accountant looks at it and they're like, well, this is great. This is all I need. So literally, you hand them one piece of information or several pieces of information, you print it out, email it, whatever, and then you step away and they can do it from that point out. So that's what I've heard a lot of other people do with this. A lot of other people do with this. So, this is probably the safest option from what I've heard. Again, not to be taken as professional advice, tax advice, or accounting advice whatsoever. That's not my field, not my expertise. But I wanted to give some information as far as what, I've heard other people might do. And you can also, choose to use the data from Inventory Lab and your own records and receipts and do it yourself using an online service like TaxSlayer, for instance. So that's another option, you could do. But, in conclusion, I'd love to give more information on a topic like this, but like I said, the truth is I'm not a CPA, so it would probably be unethical to do that. I know a lot of online sellers that they've used CPAs, and many also that choose to file the taxes themselves using a prep service like TaxSlayer. Both seem to be pretty good options. But if you're unsure of what to do, if you're uneasy about anything, you have to talk to an accountant. They're the ones that know this stuff, so they'll be able to guide you in the right direction. But the point of this lesson is just to, lets you know not to stress too much about the taxes end of things if you're using Inventory Lab and follow the instructions in the course, and if you're keeping good records. Because as long as you're keeping accurate information for the cost of your books when you're listing them, for instance, if you do the $1 to $2 thing and you put $1.50 just to keep it in the middle, that's an easy way to do it. You could change it between 1 and 2 depending, but I think that's a little more work than it's worth. If you do something like that, you're going to have accurate information for that. And then, of course, the gas, whatever other expenses that you have, there's a screen for that all in the Inventory Lab. So as long as you keep the good records, the CPA can handle all this for you. Like I said, many stories, people in your shoes, new sellers, don't know what to do. And, they get an accountant and they ask for information, and then the seller doesn't know, what to give, but they give them the Inventory Lab information they've been putting in, and that's all they need, right? So in general, TaxSlayer is going to be cheaper up front because it's like, I don't even know how much it is. I think it's like $80 or something to file for one of the options for the small business type of option. But the only time that could backfire is if you do it wrong. So, I mean, if you fill it out wrong, if you forget things, forget expenses or certain write-offs that you could use, that could cause more issues than if you just went with the CPA and spent the money to begin with. So those are your options here. Again, if you're using Inventory Lab, it's not something to stress about too much. Again, from what I've heard, because I'm not in this field, but from what I have heard, as long as you are legitimately really trying to file your taxes right, you're at least filing them right, because a lot of people don't even do that, and you're filling them out as best as you can. You keep the records as best as you can. I haven't heard of many people having very many issues. Again, from what I've heard, they're really going after the people that they just blatantly are trying to con the system. So as long as you're trying to do things to the best of your ability, you're keeping good records, and you consult someone like a CPA if you are unsure of anything, you really should be fine. I see people stress about this all the time. And the truth was, when I first started doing it, you're unsure, you're not sure what to do, because there's so much conflicting information out there. But in the end of the day, it really wasn't that bad. When I went through it, and you really can't go wrong with either of those options, unless, like I said, unless you do the prep service, like the TaxSlayer option, unless you do that wrong. If you do that wrong, then it's not such a good option. So that's not the better, but that's an option. If you're the type of person that will really research up on all these things, check with your local laws, and check into all of that stuff, right? Otherwise, it's just easier to go with the CPA. So those are the options, and that's pretty much it. So. All right, that's it for this lesson. I'll see you in the next video. This video is going to show you how to remove items in bulk from your inventory for whatever purpose that you might want to use it for. But in particular, this video, I'm showing you how to do it in order to get rid of items because of long-term storage fees. So this is mainly for books, but you can do this for any items. So the first thing you want to do is go into your Seller Central account. You want to go to Reports, and you want to go to Fulfillment. Then you want to go where it says Inventory, hit Show More. Go to Inventory Health. You just want to go to Download, do Request Download, and it's going to say In Progress. And then once that's done, you'll have a little download button right here like that. So you just hit download. It's going to download a file. It's going to be a text file. Open up to where that file downloaded to. And what you're going to want to do is open this in Excel. If you don't have Excel, I don't know what to tell you. It's like $9.95 a month, I think. Okay, so we want to delete columns A, C, column D, column F, columns J through AD, columns AF through AI, column AL and AM, and columns AP through AS. Right click up top, go to delete. That's going to shift everything to the left. And this is basically what's left is what we care about. We have SKU, the product name, the sales rank, the category it's in. And I'm just going to change some of these because they don't make sense to me. Can change that to category, change total quantity to QTY. Lowest MFN used will change to MFN low, MFN used. This is the quantity to be charged. This is basically the column that tells you if it's going to be charged long-term storage fees for 12 months. So we'll put LTSF-12 question mark. This is the projected amount you'll be charged. LTSF-12 we'll put. And then for this, I'll just put volume. And this will be putting LTSF-6 question mark. And LTSF-6 rate. And this is just for me because I don't like the values that they already had there. They don't make a lot of sense at first glance. So this is what we need. Now we're going to want to select the top row. Make sure we're at home. Hit B for bold. Then we're going to want to go to view. Click on freeze top row. So now we can always have that top row visible. Alright, once you have your screen looking like this, you should have the top row bolded. You should also have it so when you scroll down you can still see it. What I like to do is expand column A a little bit so you can see your SKU and a couple other things I also like to do. So what we want to do is highlight all the rows that have a long-term storage 12-month or 6-month fee associated with them. What you're going to want to do is select cell A2, which is the top SKU here, and then you're going to want to scroll all the way to the bottom of the report, and you're going to want to click at the bottom right all the way down here and hold shift. And what you're going to want to do is go to conditional formatting, and that's on the home tab. Go to new rule. Under style, go to classic. Pick use a formula to determine which cells. And what you're going to want to do here, we want to look at cell H2, which is LTSF-12 question mark. This field tells us whether or not this SKU is going to be subject to long-term storage fees for 12 months, which is the real heavy hitter. That's the one that's going to hurt. So we want that to be highlighted red. So you do equals $ H2 equals 1 and leave that. Hit OK. You could see that everything that has a long-term storage fee for 12 months or more is highlighted in red now. So all the ones that are 0, it's not going to highlight. So now we want to highlight everything that's long-term storage fee of 6 months or more. So we want to select again A2, scroll all the way to the bottom, and hold shift and kind of click in an empty cell to the bottom right down here. Conditional formatting, new rule, style, go to classic, go to use a formula to determine which cells to format. And you're going to want to do, this time we're looking at K, which is LTSF-6. And we're going to want to look at K2. So we do equals $K2 equals 1. And we're going to change this to yellow. and then hit OK. That's going to highlight everything with a long-term storage fee of 6 months or more. Okay, so now at this point, we just want to make a couple of changes. Category and quantity, we want to move over a bit. So we're going to want to select these two columns and then right click, go to cut, go to column M and then paste. And then we're going to want to select F through N, go to cut. We'll just click on this first cell underneath D. There we go. And so that is what you should have your screen looking like now. And LTSF12, let's kind of bring that in. We don't need that so big. Quantity, we'll shrink that a bit. Projected LTSF fee, we'll kind of shrink that a bit. And let's see. We're going to change that to LTSF-6-rate. And now you have a bunch of different options, but we're going to just format things a little bit more. For sales rank, so select column C, you're going to want to right click, go to format cells, go to number, click on number, decimal places, pick 0, but you want to click this use thousand separator so we can kind of visualize this better. And we also want your price. We're going to want to bold that, so select that column and hit bold twice, and it'll select everything and make it bold. Now for low MFNUs, what we could do is select D and E and right click, go to format cells, go to border, and we'll just put a little border on the left and right, and then even one in the middle, and then hit OK. And that's just kind of give this little like border here, and it just, again, it just helps us visually look at things. We could even do the same thing with sales rank. Go to format cells, but we'll just do the left one right there. So now it should look like this. So now all you have to do is sort things in a way where, you know, it makes sense. We're doing books, right? So at the very least, we want to get rid of all books that are penny books, which means the low MFN used column is going to be 4. We want to get rid of those if they're penny books. And a lot of the 6-month highlighted ones, we want to get rid of a lot of those too. But it all depends on, you know, your business model. But those are ones we want to get rid of. Before we do that, I'm going to show you how to get an idea of how much fees you're actually facing. If you go to the LTSF rate 12 column, which is now this is column G after we move things around a bit. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, go to the very bottom of this and go to the first blank cell, and you're going to do equals sum left parenthesis, and we're going to do G2 colon G and then the last cell, so which for us is 3031, and then a right parenthesis. Okay, so $930.84 is what I would get charged February 17th if I don't get rid of any of these. Okay, that's a lot of money. And for most of these being penny books, I mean, those have got to go. If you actually look at your inventory, you're going to find that a lot of your book fees are actually more than $4. So you could actually be losing money even if you did price it at the lowest price possible. So hopefully you're looking at this when there's a promotion with Amazon where they let you destroy items for free. But if not, then you're going to have to, you know, incorporate that 15-cent fee and really figure out what's worth it and what's not. So we did that for this. So LTSF 6, which is column J, we're going to do the same thing. Equals sum J2 colon J, and then whatever your last row is. And for me, it's $318. So if you add these two up, that's like $1,248. So obviously, that's a lot of money. So there's a lot of ways to go through this and kind of determine what to get rid of. You could do it by volume. So you could select column H, for instance, which is like, tells you how big everything is, and you could do sort and filter largest to smallest, and make sure you always have expand the selection clicked here, and then you hit sort. And so like I have a printer apparently that is going to cost me $20 in long-term storage fees for 12 months. And my price is only 37 bucks on it, and it's been sitting there forever. So that might be something I consider getting rid of. I have an AT&T answering machine. I think I made a listing for this. This hasn't sold. This is I'm gonna get charged $7.72. So I mean, you can see this is kind of just one way you could go about it. And then if you scroll down, you see the fees keep getting smaller as you go. But what I've found is really good for books, especially. Like I said, you want to get rid of the penny books, especially if they've been in there for like over a year. You just want to get rid of those because those charges are going to kill you. So what I found is the easiest thing to do is go to sort and filter, and you're going to want to do custom sort. So the first column we're going to want to filter by is column E, which is the low MFN used. Go to sort and filter, go to custom sort, and then do the expand the selection, hit sort. So it says column volume. I guess it has that from before. Change that to low MFN used, and we're going to want to do smallest to largest. Hit the plus sign where it says then by. We're going to want to sort after that. We're going to want to sort by the LTSF 12 question mark column. And we're going to want to do largest to smallest. Then hit the plus again. And we're going to want to do LTSF 6 question mark. Again, largest to smallest. And this is how it should look right now if you look at your screen. If you scroll down, we want to keep going down, and you're going to see some weird stuff like 1 cent and 117 and some weird stuff. But you keep going down, and here we go, right? So right at 4, so everything at like 4 down are penny books, and they're books that have been in your inventory for over a year. Now, a lot of these books I sent in when I first started selling books. So I sent in some books I shouldn't have. But you're going to find that even if you send in perfect inventory, you're going to have a lot of this stuff anyway, because so many of these mega sellers just keep dropping the price to the point where books that never were penny books become penny books. So what you would do is, like say I select this SKU right here, and you scroll all the way down. I mean, look at all these, right? There's a ton of them. Scroll all the way down. This is the first time I've cleaned out my inventory, because a lot of these sell, right? A lot of these will sell, but at the end of the day, most of them aren't. And you're just going to lose money when those fees come around. So all these, I mean, look at all these, right? I mean, so you would select all these. What you want to do is start at the first one that says 4 under low MFN used. So select, mine is column 98, so I select the SKU here, and I scroll all the way down. Okay, now see it stops. All these red ones stop. And I want to select down here, and I'm going to copy it. So Command and C, or if you're on a PC, Control C. I'm going to make a new tab, and I'm going to paste it right here. So these are ones I know I want to get rid of. These are just a bunch of penny bucks. So this is all crap. Go back here and select this. Now, if I want to get rid of penny books for the 6 months or longer too, I would do the same thing. Select the one at the top, scroll all the way down, and they stop right here. So I hold Shift, click the bottom one, do Command C or Control C, whatever you're doing. And you can put it in another column, but I'm just going to put it right below here. I'll leave a little gap. And I mean, so that's right off the bat, that's 1,018 SKUs. If you did nothing else but this, you just saved yourself a crap load of money when it comes time to get charged those fees. So that's just one way to go about it. And then you can see these are items that haven't been in your inventory for that long because they're all white. But there's still a lot of penny books here, right? And now we go. Now you could even choose to get rid of some of these that aren't completely penny books, like they're a little bit above a penny, but they're still close. I mean, that's up to you. But what I ended up doing is after this, what you can do, you could also do it by sales rank. So it's completely up to you how you want to go about this. Click on column C and then go to sort and filter. Do sort largest to smallest. Make sure you have expand the selection checked. Hit sort. And now we're sorting from the highest sales rank to the lowest sales rank. And it's going to show you visually all the items that you have that are long-term storage fee items. They're going to get charged. So like for instance, you could do this one by one if you really wanted to. Like this one is an obvious one you want to get rid of because it's a penny book. We don't want that. This one could be one I might want to get rid of. I don't know. I could just lower the price. It really depends. Then we've got, here's another one. If we keep going down, we've got Student Success in College. This is a penny book. This one is $4.73. That's, way too low. I mean, even $23, that's got to go. $22, no, that's not staying. $22, that's not staying. Even $42, I would argue is got to go. When we're talking 13 million rank and it's been in there a year, that's got to go. Let's see, $13.06, that's not happening. $26, that's too low. We got $25, nope. $59. Now we want to look at that low merchant, especially when we're talking about these books that are high rank. So if the low merchant isn't like $50 or above, when we're talking these high ranks, I'm getting rid of it. So this one, $59, I'll keep that one because the merchant's up there. This one's $9.97. There's no way I'm keeping that. $12.02. 10 million rank? Yeah, I don't think so. $18, I don't think so. $25.99, gotta go. $15.99, gotta go. And the low merchant is 0. So that means that I'm either the only person selling it or there's only new offers. Either way, this means this book has been in there for a year or is going to be in there for a year within the next couple months. And that book hasn't sold at only 20 bucks. Even if we are the only offer, that's got to go. You're just going to get charged too much. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. Here we have another one. Look at this one. $1.35 we get charged for a penny book right here. A penny book. Not worth it. Get rid of it. $13.48. Get rid of it. $22.96. Get rid of it. $19.96. That's FBA. That's what we have it for. $7.53 is a merchant, so that's got to go. This one's $60. We'll keep that. $11 got to go. $16.29 got to go. So you see where I'm coming from with this. This one, $25. I'm going to get rid of that too. Again, first time I purge my inventory in this way, and it's going to be the first time for most people. Like I said, I do have penny books. I mean, I had a penny book sell in the last few months. Penny book that was 4 or 5 million ranks over $31. But I got to tell you, hundreds more books in my inventory that dropped in price ended up not selling. They just sit. And those monthly storage fees, in addition to the long-term storage fees, are going to add up to a hell of a lot more than that oddball sale that you get for 20, 30 bucks. 1601, we're going to get rid of that. 1088, we would get rid of that. So this is just one way to do it, and this is the way I ended up doing it personally, is I kind of went one by one, and anything that was below the amount that I was comfortable with for the sales rank, I got rid of. So this is the way I did it. For 10 million, well let's say actually for like 6 and 7 million and up, If it's under 50 bucks, I got rid of it if it was red. If it was yellow, I might give it a little more time. If it was like 40 bucks, something like that. But usually I'm getting rid of it. So then when you get down to, like 5 million rank, I still want to be like 5 million rank, I want to see it $40 or more. 4 million rank, I want to see it $30 or more. 3 million rank, I want to see $20 or more. 2 million rank, I want to see $10 or more. Things like that. And again, we're looking at the low merchant column. I don't care about FBA. When we're talking higher ranks like this, you have to look at merchant. And that's how you do it, right? So let's say that we have our list here. We're happy with what we got, with what we purged, and now we want to upload this to Amazon. What we have to do is download the bulk removal template from Amazon. And you just want to open a new tab, and this is the easiest way I know of to get to this page. I'm sure there's another way. Type FBA bulk removal in Google, hit search. You want to go to the top one right here. Let's go to upload removal order file page, and basically you want to download template, so you click on download template. That's going to download the template file. So what you want to do is go to where it downloaded it to. It's going to be a flat file. It's going to be an Excel format. You want to double click it. And it's going to say, it might say this, might not. Mine says open as read only. I just hit open as read only. It's fine. And what I do is I go to example, and I copy this. I'm going to copy these 3 rows here, and then I'm going to go to File, New Workbook, and I'm going to paste, and this is going to be our file, and we're going to go to File, Save, and I'm going to save this as LTS Removal, and I'm going to save it as the Excel workbook. Hit save. Now for a removal order ID, you can put whatever you want. I'm just going to put LTS removal 1. For removal disposition, if you want to return to you hit return, but I think that's, I don't know, kind of crazy. I'm just going to get rid of these. So what I'm going to do is type disposal, and for name, you're going to want to put your name. For this address field 1, you want your street. City, you want to put US for United States. Put your country code, your zip code, and you want to put your phone number. And these are all required fields, are all bold here. So you want to make sure those are all filled out. So where it says merchant SKU, sellable quantity, and all that, just select it. Go to clear contents, and then save it again. Go to file, save. So now all we really want to do is go back to the other workbook we had open, see where we have this separate sheet. This is the sheet we pasted all the SKUs in. So we want to just copy them all. So I'm going to select this at the top left here, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and hold shift. I'm going to click on this last cell here. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back to our workbook, which I called LTS removal, and I'm going to click right here. I'm going to paste. So these are all our SKUs. For sellable quantity, you're going to want to hit the number 1. Do that for the second one and the third one. So now we've got 3 that say 1. You're going to want to select them all and then grab the little handle at the bottom right, drag it down. It should copy it as ones. If it starts going up like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have to do it again. You didn't do it right. You have to make sure you have more than one of the cells selected. So again, grab it by the handle and just scroll all the way down to the bottom. And you'll get to the bottom row here, and then you just want to let go, and you have ones all the way down. And then for unsellable quantity, put 0, put 0 again, select both of those two, drag the handle down a bit, and then once you see that it's giving you zeros, Grab it again and scroll all the way to the bottom one more time. Okay, now we are down here. Let go. Now what you want to do is save the file. So go to File, Save. Now you want to save it in a format that Amazon will accept. So go to File, go to Save As. I'm going to save it as LTS removal file format. You have to go to Tab Delimited Text. Click on Save. It's going to say this, some features may be removed. Click on Continue. That's fine. And now you're going to go back to your browser. And it's going to say upload your removal order file. You're going to want to choose the file, which we call LTS removal. Now it should look like a text file like this. It should say plain text. You want to double click it. And once you double click it, it's going to say upload now. I'm not going to actually do this because I actually already did mine. Once you upload it, it'll take a little bit. When it's done, you can just keep hitting refresh. And if it went through, it'll say number of records that were activated, and it'll give you the number, and it'll say the same number that were uploaded. So mine went through properly. If there's a problem, you're going to see number of records with errors, and that's going to be more than 0. So if there are errors, you're going to have to go back, make sure the formatting is right, just by purging my inventory of stuff that was never really going to sell in the first place. And this is stuff from, last year, most of it. I mean, I've sent in probably like 15,000 items since I started. And I have, let's say 3,000 active at the moment in my inventory. And, so that means 12,000 are sold. And of the 3,000 active, I'm sure at least 2,400 or 2,000 of those will sell. So basically, my sell-through rate, if we say I have 13,500, let's say, we'll say that those are the ones that sold out of 15,000, and we'll say 1,500 don't sell for whatever reason. That's a 90% sell-through rate. And when we're talking about books, that's really, really freaking good. If you follow the things I outlined in this course, my pricing settings, my repricing settings, you can have a really, really, really good sell-through rate too and make a ton of money. But you just have to do things right, look at your numbers, make sure you're pricing the way I explain in my videos, and you will be fine. So again, thanks for watching. Have a good one. The name of this lesson is Scheduling Your Week and Keys to Success. So there are 3 essential keys to being successful with an Amazon FBA business in general. But this we have tailored to books. So the first is to source continuously without fail, and to source only from good locations and sources. When you first start, you're going to have to be going out on your own to places to source on an as-you-go/as needed, which is going to be as much as possible basis. The second is to always be sending in books to the FBA warehouses so that you create a snowball effect with your inventory. So things are always selling. When I first started this, I sent in 200 books and they were selling better than I ever expected. I made some changes, some pricing changes, some repricing changes, and of course sales went up dramatically from that. But I was also starting to send in books on a weekly basis. So once a week, without fail, I would send in new inventory. And what was happening was the old inventory was selling as new inventory was getting checked in, and it just kept growing and growing and growing, and then soon your paychecks are growing and growing, and then your business becomes a life of its own. And when that happens is when you have to start hiring. But we'll get to that. The third is to always be building business partnerships to get more books. So clean out companies, estate liquidators, auction houses, churches even, are all places that can get books on a continuous basis. So you want to make sure you have as many sources of good books coming to you as you possibly can. And of course, there's other things than that. But these are some really good examples. And of course, when you list on Craigslist, have your own website, things like that to bring in leads 24/7, that definitely helps on getting the books coming to you. So scheduling your week. So when you first start out, this is an example work week that you could use to start growing the business. So Monday you could just do networking because this is very important. Even if you only spent a couple hours on it, right? This is your business. So a lot of people are getting away from a 9 to 5. So I don't want to make this out to be like it's just another 9 to 5 because this is completely different. When I first started, though, I was working 6 to 7 days a week because I wanted this thing to grow. And I was okay with it. And I'll tell you why I was okay with it, because it was my rules. It was on my time. There's a real big difference between having to be somewhere at 9 o'clock every day without fail and leave at 5 o'clock every day without fail, doing the same thing, and having your own business that grows and evolves with you, that you can work 10 to 2 one day, and maybe another day you can work 10 to 5. Maybe another day you don't really feel that great, feeling under the weather, you work for an hour, right? But your inventory is constantly selling. So you're able to do this with this model. So this is what I came up with. So as I said, networking is a big deal. And networking is something you can do Mondays, for example, and just do nothing but reach out to people. Maybe people in the past you've already bought books from, you can give them a call, ask them if they've got any more. You can use Google to look up some of the different places that I've taught you about in the course. And just do nothing but reach out to these places, even if it only takes you an hour a day. Even if you only work for an hour on Monday, that would be an hour very well spent. For Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I have sourcing, and there's a reason for that, because you're just starting, right? You're just starting, so you don't have any inventory yet. You really have to get that going. So right when you have your Amazon seller account, you want to start sourcing, continuously sourcing, and always be getting new books, always be finding new books and sources of new books. So when I put sourcing, I don't just mean sourcing, I also mean finding other sources of books and doing different things. You don't have to just do library sales every day of the week. You don't, plus that would be difficult to do. And you don't have to just do thrift stores every day of the week. You can work your week so that you're doing different things, but you're still continuously sourcing. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, source part-time, full-time, whatever you want to do. When I used to go to library sales, I would work, let's say start at 8 in the morning. I would work from, 8 to 11 in the morning or so. Maybe I'd be at the sale for that long, pay for the books, go home, take the rest of the day off. Every time. Because every time I went to one of those library sales, now mind you, I was going with my wife, okay? Because when you go to a place like a library sale, you really want to clean up. And I mentioned that in my video about that. So, I always bring as many people as I can. And if you can, as I also mentioned, you want to pay by the hour. You really want to pay by the hour if you can. But yeah, I would work 2-3 hours. And I would take the rest of the day off because I knew every time I did that, I would be making between $1,500 and $2,500, if not more sometimes. Okay, so yeah, with these fee changes, there will be a little less books to get. So maybe this time I'll get a little less. So let's say between $1,250 and $2,000. Let's just say, for example, even though there are been days that I've gotten $3,000 plus from one book sale. But let's just say that for worst case scenario. If you're okay with making that kind of money within a few hours of time, because that's what you can do with these library sales and with a lot of other sources too, then this is going to be a good business model for you. So again, it's all based on your schedule. But I try to source more than I do other things. So when I put listing, at the bottom, that includes pricing, of course. It includes prepping. So all that. So the inventory lab side, where you grade the books, where you price the books, list the books, put them in the boxes, and ship them out. So that's all, let's say Friday. Um, so now there's only one thing you have to keep in mind with this schedule. If you're going to have UPS pick up your books, I don't believe they do pickups on the weekend. I haven't been able to get them to do it. Every time I do a drop down, it only comes up Monday through Friday. So if you want to list and have them pick up the next day, which I would recommend, you might want to mix this around a little bit. For example, you might want to do sourcing, listing, and then do your networking on Friday. So you might just want to swap listing and networking, something like that, right? Yeah, your books might sit over the weekend for a couple days, but what I've found is it really doesn't matter as long as you're sending things in once a week, as long as it's continuous. But you really want to try to be at the once per week amount, and this is a really good schedule, and it depends on how much you're sourcing. You could have to list more than one day. If you're getting a lot of books in, you got like 600 to 1,000 books, FBA quality books in a week, then you might have to take a couple days to list that. And that's okay. And with Inventory Lab, you can have 2 people list. It's not a problem. And that will speed things along. But so it all depends. But this is an example. Use this as nothing but an example on what you could do, and this will get you 90% of the way there. So then what? Once you've reached a point where you simply cannot do everything by yourself, so you've got the connections, you've got good books coming in, but you can't do it all by yourself. The listing is taking up too much time. A lot of people, that's what they don't like the most. They like the sourcing, they like finding the good books, because it is fun when you scan a book and you're like, whoa, I just made $50 and I spent $1. It's kind of cool. But the listing the books thing is kind of not as fun for a lot of people. When your business reaches that point, it's time to start hiring these tasks out, like the listing and the prepping. And, that's fine. And that's a good thing. I think a lot of mistakes that people make is they don't want to hire. Well, if I'm hiring someone, then that's cutting into my profits. And that's a huge mistake. Because without hiring that person, you are stuck in a hole. Even if it's a good hole where you're making good money, your business is relying on you at that point. And that's not the best place to be. I still think it's a hell of a lot better than being on a 9 to 5, unless you really enjoy your job and really enjoy the company you work for, which I think is pretty rare these days. So with that said, the addition to this course by Veronica O'Leary, which is my saleswoman. She's the one that gets a lot of these connections for me, sources of books, things like that. She has been absolutely amazing. And she can help you tremendously once you reach this point. And before you even do reach this point, because the information she gives you will help you get there. She's responsible for several companies growing into the multi-million-dollar range. So her advice should not be taken lightly. What she's done for my business is absolutely mind-blowing. And luckily I was able to convince her to do this segment for my audience. So if you haven't already gotten her part of the course based on the sales end of books, based on the hiring, based on growing your business, this is something you really want to consider investing in. And it's just, I can't say enough good things about what's happened to my business once I hired someone to manage a lot of the things that I didn't really want to do. I could do them, but there was no way that I was going to be as efficient as someone else who had made that their focal point. Now, sales is very important to any business. And it's not maybe directly sales with books or with this you might be thinking, but it really is. And sales is involved in any business. I was very, very lucky to find her because she was making, I shouldn't probably tell her business here, but I think she'll be okay with it. I mean, she was making multiple six figures, huge commissions, was offered what amounts to, I'm sure well over $1 million for the things that she was able to do for these other companies. But things happened, personal things happened in her life where she ended up out of those roles, and she's with me now. So, as you may have known, if you watch me on YouTube, if you see me talk before, I very rarely talk about anyone like this. So, she is for real. That's all I can say. She is for real. And you could do a lot with just my half of the course. With both parts of this course, you really have the full package here on growing an FBA business, and not just on books. You can take the information that she's going to give you and apply it to wholesale, apply it to private label. You can apply it to online arbitrage, to retail arbitrage. You can apply it to almost any business, because this stuff is relatively universal. So I'll stop talking that up now because I went on for a bit, but it's worth saying. This is all worth saying, and it's just an amazing skill to have. Sales is an amazing skill to have, and it can help you really grow your business. And what I found that she's very, very, very able to do, which is so important, because this is the biggest thing people are scared of. She's able to get businesses to trust you to a point where they would walk through fire for you. And I literally mean would do anything. So if someone gets a contract for a lot of books, the biggest fear is a competitor is going to come by and they're going to steal it away. Someone that's bigger, someone that can offer more money. But when you have someone like this on your team or giving you advice, as she does in this course, or her side of the course, she's going to show you how to make people trust you so that they will only work with you. It's really an amazing thing. I've never seen it before, to be honest with you. I always really thought that was always a risk, no matter what. It was only the money people cared about, but the reality is actually quite different. Human beings are quite complex, as you may already know. So this is kind of the last slide here. I wanted to talk about the building your business kind of beyond the point where you can't do it all anymore. Hopefully you're able to get both parts of the course, because I think it'll really help you grow your business. So if you really want to be an entrepreneur, you really want to do this the right way, you can't neglect sales. If you neglect sales, you will fail. You will fail. And you never want to partner with someone that has the same skills as you. I don't care how smart they are. I don't care if they do some of what you know how to do a little bit better than you. That's not what you need. That's not what you need when you're talking about partnering with somebody. What you need when you're partnering with somebody, if you even ever consider that, which I would suggest for books, actually. There is a lot of benefit to doing a partnership with someone for FBA books. It can really help grow your business faster. But that's the point I'm making. You don't want somebody with the same skills as you. You don't want somebody that can do what you do. You want somebody that can do what you can't do. You want somebody that can do what you don't want to do, but is essential to growing the business. And luckily I was able to learn that, and that's why I'm having a lot of success. And I believe that anybody that follows that can have success too. So with that said, I will see you in the next lesson. So I wanted to do this quick video update as far as grading your books, and this update is February 2017. So until further notice, what you want to do is grade any books that you would have graded as new. Instead, you want to grade them as like new. So Amazon is now allowing other sellers to get the buy box for new books. So this has caused them to crack down on sellers listing books as new without the publisher's approval. So if you have a book that looks brand new, list it as like new instead. So that will eliminate any chance of having any issues. So at the end of the day, like new books sell great. It's really not going to cause much, if any, loss of profits by grading books a little bit differently. So you can use a condition note similar to the following for any of the books that you have that you normally would have graded as new. So what you could put is excellent condition, essentially brand new. So at the end of the day, when you're a new seller, it's just better safe than sorry. A handful of people have had issues when they listed books as new, and it's just not worth it if you're really not going to make any more money by doing this. And once your account is more established, it's possible this will become less of an issue. However, until further notice, you should simply never grade any books as new until it's been deemed safe to do so. So this is the first update, and there's going to be more to come. So when you purchase this course, you really made a great investment, because I made the decision to do update videos like this to keep new sellers informed so they can continue to make lots of money. Amazon makes changes every now and then, and I'm here to keep you up to date on them. So first thing I want to tell you is to ignore all the noise you hear on the Facebook groups and other social networks. If you hear something you're concerned about, you can email me at jim@jimpickens.com, and I'll let you know the real deal and if there's anything to be worried about. But 99% of the time, there isn't. But I'm here to help you when you need me. So with that said, have a great rest of your day and go out there and make some money.